You're watching an episode of Spirits People Live with Johnny Michelson.
Oh, it works. Let's see if it sticks. So Instagram Live seems to be working. All right, what's going on, guys? There were some issues here with Instagram Live. Seems to be working now. We'll see. I was just chatting with Vin over on. Ah, there he is. Let's see. Let's see if Instagram can keep up here. Whiskey Novice. All right, cool. We had pretty much given up. Vin, can you hear me? Okay. Let me know if you guys have some audio still here. Just popping in a mic. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't realize how much time actually passed. It's yeah, we're a little bit behind here. All right, cool, Vin. Let's do this. So I'm gonna just give me a second here. Sorry, guys. There were some Instagram issues. Seems that they fixed it over on the Facebook campus. Josh, what's going on? Stuart is here. We got Henrik from Copenhagen. This is amazing. This is one of those situations where you're kind of giving up and then all of a sudden you get a little bit of a saving grace. All right. My wife is shutting the door. She doesn't want to hear me chat. Fair enough. All right. Vin, let's get you on. And also, if for whatever reason, we can blame Instagram. But for now, it looks like we're back and we're actually.
Oh,
there he is.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, just as you were saying, I was literally just about to give up.
I had the bottle. I'm not going to show the bottle because this is a blind tasting, but I know what it is. You don't. And I was like, just like that. It's like, I'm going to give it one more go. I'm going to try and see if this works.
Yeah, well, I just sat here. I thought, well, I'll wait a few minutes, see what happens. They're still in front of me here. I've got them all nicely propped up. So, all good.
Awesome. Cool, man. I'm like, I'm a little bit frazzled right now because I was like, I dumped shit everywhere. I was like, fuck this.
Yeah. It's one of those weird things, isn't it? Because YouTube had its a little spaz out last week, and it was just, I don't know, what can you do? They're working hard on it over in California or whatever, aren't they? But
yeah, all
good.
All good, man. It's good to see you. It's good to have you on.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, to be fair. I've never really done one of these Instagram things before. It's a platform that I'm not really that knowledgeable on. I'm trying to do stories and things like that now, but yeah, why not?
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's a little bit more raw because you have obviously you do a bunch of YouTube reviews and you've done this for a long time, so you have the comfort of editing.
Literally the fallback of it all, let's say. But I like to. One of the little things I like to do is add my outtakes to the end of the video. So it's a good little Easter egg for people that watch the whole thing, because in my little end credits thing, sometimes there's a little outtake or two. The video I've just done a couple of days ago, there was loads of them, because if I'm not that knowledgeable about a particular whiskey, I make mistakes all the time.
Yeah, so it was the Knob Creek Rye, right?
Yeah. So we'll talk about these in a minute, but I'm thinking there's some rye stuff in here, but it's something I'm not that knowledgeable on, so it's difficult for me to kind of pick it out. But I'm enjoying it sort of through the rye. It's not my favourite genre, but
cool. And I can see you got some coins lined up there, and thanks for these.
Yeah, I'm glad they got to you in time. I only really sent them out yesterday, so that was good.
I got two. Yeah. So this is going to look a little bit inappropriate, but got a couple of hands here with a big no. So 188 and 245.
Yeah, I've got three on here. These are coins that I've still got in my collection for sale, but I've got 152, 185, and 236 sitting atop mine.
Nice, solid.
Yeah,
these super good quality. They literally just came today. So yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, they're solid, good weight to them actually.
Yeah, they're just a nice thing. Like, I mean, I'm an ex-poker player. Wasn't very good, so I had to stop. So there's it's nice to have these because I do this thing. I don't know if I'll be able to do it because I've got my little plaster on, but I hold the chips in my hand like this, and I just sort of flick them about with a little couple of fidgets.
Yeah,
we call them. So they're quite nice to have around just for that. But a lot of people use them for different things. I don't know if you know the story about them, like where they originate from or anything like that. But
yeah, it's like a challenge coin, right?
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you have the coin? So you tell the story, the backdrop.
Well, it was a Scotch test dummy thing they did. This is these guys up on my hat now, another YouTube channel. And it's kind of a US military tradition. And the different units would have challenge coins. And the kind of long and short of it is, a long story short is that every member of the unit would have a challenge coin. And when you went to the bar or the mess or whatever, you'd be like, right, get your challenge coin out. And if you haven't got your challenge coin, then you have to buy the round.
Yeah.
So it stemmed from that. It was just a kind of a lucky happenstance that it fits perfectly on a Glencairn glass.
Mm-hmm.
So now we call them whiskey hats or whatever. I mean, mine have got two sides, so you can use it as a decision maker, coin flip or whatever. But
yeah,
it's whatever you want it to be, really.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I love it. I was and thanks for the link. So you sent me the link to where you have these done. They're done in the US, these ones particularly. But yeah, I've been thinking about it, and I might have something like that in the future. But yeah, not right now. I have other stuff which I know that you know. But yeah, we'll make an announcement here towards the end of the stream, because this stream is first and foremost a blind tasting, not from me, because I know what it is. I sent you 3 samples. I have them lined up here as well. But yeah, for you it's a blind tasting. So
yeah,
we might get some no nonsense tasting notes.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, we might. That's the irony of the name "No Nonsense," right? Because it started out like an idea about really stripping away all of the extra tasting notes, but it's kind of been flipped on its head a little bit now, and it's become a bit more of an ironic thing. Because like the further I expand my knowledge of whiskey, the more I'm starting to delve into some of these tasting notes that I said I would never do. So. Yeah, I mean, when I'm doing something like this with blind, I mean, I've got what I've written down, and I mean, you and I both know that you can't be wrong, right? If you smell it, you smell it. It's up to you.
That's the thing.
But I've made some guesses about, especially one, which I think might be either a rye or a high rye, but we'll go through with that when we get there. But I have to say, I do think they're all bourbon or rye. I think that's pretty.
You're not incorrect.
I mean, that's one thing I was really worried about, because it's like, well, what if it's because in this day and age we can do almost anything, right? There's I mean, Scotch Whisky Association is keeping Scotch traditional and bourbon is bourbon, but there are some companies out there that Cavalan is a great example, who are aging stuff that we wouldn't get in Scotland for 15 years in a year or 2, 3 years or so, so it's the world's getting smaller, isn't it?
I know, yeah. No, it's good. Yeah, the humidity and stuff. It's like mentioning Cavalan there. I have one of those soloist sherry cask in there, and it's like I don't know how old it is, but it's as dark. It's like dark copper. It's like crazy old, or crazy old looking. But yeah, it's probably only like a couple of years old.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I find some of their stuff a little like over oaked, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's something I've covered one on the channel yet. I need to do that, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
If I get available, I've got I don't know if you can see on the shelf behind me. I've got some 100 samples sitting on there, so I'm doing all right for video content right now.
Yeah, I'm the same. I have so many, and I keep accumulating more samples, and I love that, because it just means that there's so much more variety. Like wherever you feel like drinking, there's always something. So
absolutely.
Yeah, man. All right, cool. I'm gonna just quickly here see if there's any comments here spitting out. And for everyone joining, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We'll get into the tasting in a second. And at the end, of course, we'll be there's an announcement, and then there's also a giveaway, and Vin, you're going to help me with that. So every week, see if I can find it. I threw it on the ground because I was angry, but it's right here. the Spirits People tote bag. We give away one of those every week. So we'll do that towards
Nice.
the end.
Wearing the old T-shirt as well.
Spirits People oh,
Yeah. I've got one of those, but I can't bring myself to wear it anywhere.
I know. I received the thing today. I'm not a lunch person, and I just hate making lunch. So I figured I'll give this a go. And then I put on the T-shirt, and then I was like running around getting ready for today. And then I forgot to change. So yeah, I'm wearing the Huel, the official Huel T-shirt and the official Whiskey in the Six hat. So yeah, very unbranded for myself, but hey.
Yeah, I mean, I used to wear a branded T-shirt on my videos, like a no-nonsense whiskey thing, but I got to the point where I was like, do you know what? People know who I am because they're on my channel. So
yeah.
What I've started to do now is to wear literally things like this. I've started to build up a collection of fellow YouTubers, yourself, a few other bits and bobs, a few cheap ones off Amazon. So I'm just wearing other people's stuff now and spreading the love. Like this hat, I haven't got one of Rob's yet, but I've ordered some of my own. But again, I don't think I'll wear them on my own videos. I'll probably just wear them out and about so people might know who I am then, and festivals and things. But
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's all about the community.
Cool. I know, yeah, I love it. I love supporting others, and like especially Rob's hats. I love because it's kind of it kind of fits me quite well. It's like the brand's like all black and white and quite neat, and the quality of this new hat is just amazing. So yeah, I can definitely recommend it.
Awesome. All
right, so Vin, let's do this. So
try the first one.
I've called these A, B, and C.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with. Well, A.
Well, I think obviously I tried these off camera over the last couple of days. I didn't want to just go straight into it blind. So I think you might have arranged these in ABV scaling upwards. I think, but they're all pretty high.
I have not.
You haven't? Okay, so I'm definitely wrong there then. So we'll see.
Well, it's not far off. There's 1% difference between A and B, and A is one higher, but yeah, C is significantly higher. Yeah.
So what I'll say is then I've got I had this one down at 48%, and I had B down at 50, and then I had C down at somewhere near 60. So I think I might be around about the right sort of areas.
Yep.
But this one here, so. Well, I don't want you to lead me, so I'll say what I get first, I guess. But
yeah, I have my own. I'll share my notes as well, and obviously, as you said, like there's no wrong notes because like you smell what you smell, right?
I'll just say as well. I just saw Whiskey Wim's comment. What happened to your finger? I've been trying to keep it off screen, but last week I had some surgery. I had a cyst removed from my finger, so it's I've still got some stitches. Yeah, it's all good.
Right, your finger is still intact.
Yeah, just about. It looks pretty horrific under the plaster, and I can't really bend it or do anything serious. But
can you hold a Glencairn? That's the most important thing.
In the other.
Right, fair enough.
Yeah. So I got some. Yeah, it was weird. So I think this one's a bourbon, but I think I got more grassy herbal notes off this one than I did the other. And then the kind of what I call the standard bourbon flavors like vanilla and oak and things like that. But I mean, absolutely 100% cannot narrow these down to a brand or anything because I have no idea. But yeah, it's a nice nose.
Yeah. What do you think of it? Like that's all of the notes. Like, is it? Because I know you did. You're on a rye quest here.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that there's some rye in any of these, like A, B, or C. Like, are you able to kind of pin down that kind of the rye note that you may or may not dislike? Are you able to kind of pick those out, or is it something that you're kind of on that journey to figure that out?
Yeah, I think I can. So I find with ryes, there's kind of two different versions of ryes. There's like kind of a hot, spicy flavor from it. But if it goes too far, like the 100% rye, I find that this kind of weird menthol, minty flavor comes out of it. Yeah. And that's the one I don't like. I've got this weird thing about mint. Like, I don't like mint chocolate or mint ice cream. I like chewing gum mint, and I like toothpaste mint, but that's about as far as I go.
Yeah. Not
So
when
it's too minty.
Not when you're drinking whiskey.
Yeah. But yeah, this one I just had a little sip there, and it's kind of, I'm getting some kind of that hot rye spiciness from it, but not overly so. So I think it might be a bourbon with a decent rye influence.
Okay.
But I'm probably going to be really wrong.
So I'll give you my notes, and then I'll show the bottle, let you know what it is. So like on the nose, I'm getting a lot of initially I'm getting like a lot of caramel and vanilla. I'm also getting like rye bread and some char and some cloves, a little bit of allspice, and then also these grassy notes, as you say. There's some of those kind of, almost like there's maybe some lemongrass, and it's a little bit herbal, but it's also like a little bit of ethanol coming out. So yeah, the ABV definitely is not a super low ABV, but it's not a blast in the face like the last one is going to be. Definitely a blast. And yeah, on the palate, I'm getting a lot of like rye bread and ginger, and some char and some cloves as well. So yeah, it's kind of it's a funny profile because it could be a bourbon, it could be a rye, just like based on my notes. If I was drinking this blind, I wouldn't be able to pick it out. I think though, the kind of rye bread and the ginger kind of, to me, is one of those giveaways. So let's see what it is. This is a Canadian whiskey.
Ah, okay.
This is a 100% rye.
Oh.
Lot 40 cask strength. 12 years old, 55%.
So, first question. I mean, I've only tried the standard Lot 40. Now, I know this. There's a little funny thing about the rules in Canada, and that's that you can put rye on any bottle of whiskey, even if it doesn't have any rye in it.
Yep.
So is that a genuine rye, or is that a weird Canadian rye that's got no rye in it?
This here is 100% rye grains.
Ooh. Okay.
It's very likely that it's 90% rye and 10% malted rye.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure. I didn't look it up, but that's as far as I recall. It's something like that. But yeah, this is a tricky one because it drinks like a bourbon. It's very heavy on the dark caramels, and like the 12 years is kind of masked because you don't get a lot of that oak and a lot of that char. You get a lot more kind of caramel and stuff. So yeah, it's a weird one.
It's tasty though. I like it. I mean, it's got all the things that I like about the ryes that I've liked, and none of the things are the ones that I don't like. So it's
nice.
Yeah, I'm glad that it's 100% rye. I mean, I actually did. I'll show you as well. Look, I don't know if you can read that. It'll probably be backwards now. But I actually had rye or high rye and crossed it out. I was like, no, it's a bourbon.
Yeah. I don't think, like, honestly, if I had this blind, I wouldn't be able to pick it out. I think only now that it's been airing out for a bit, I'm getting a lot more of that ginger, which for me is the way that it's likely to be a rye whiskey altogether. But yeah, if I was just sipping it, it's like, yeah, I would probably say that this is a bourbon.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that I had actually had a comment recently. So I did the Knob Creek Rye, and somebody commented saying that blind, they don't think that most people would be able to tell the difference between most ryes and bourbons, but obviously the experts would be able to, but definitely not me.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's difficult because you can have, in bourbon, you can have a bourbon that's 51% corn, and then almost the equal amount rye. And yeah, they can be super tricky to pick apart. So yeah, I doubt that even like experts or whatever you want to call them is going to be like able to pick everything out. Like, they're going to make classic mistakes. It's like, oh, sure, this is a bourbon or rye. It's like, no, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I'm happy with that. That's I mean, it's been one of those things that I'm thinking that I might purchase at some point. Quite difficult to get though, isn't it? Right? It's any Canadian stuff over here.
Yeah, this is a tricky one. I actually have. I'll send you another sample of this. I have another bottle. But yeah, I had to kind of go some back roads the Canadian Silk Road to get some of these. So I got 2 bottles of these, traded them for a couple of Blantons straight from the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely not easy. There's a newer release as well, which is a younger, I think it's a 9-year-old, which is not getting as good reviews as this one, but still, for Canadian whiskey, kind of making a leap into that kind of cask strength and older whiskeys is a massive thing, because historically it's always been like lower ABV blends and stuff like that. So this year is just like a whole new chapter, and I think they're riding high on it.
Yeah, I think it's good. I'm actually going to reach over. Let me just take my earphones out a second. I'm going to show you something that someone bought me.
Install it.
Yeah.
All right.
Excuse the unprofessional nature of that. But do you know who Food Queeg is? He's a YouTuber from Canada.
I do not.
He bought me this in a backpack all the way over from Canada, and I thought, oh, that's nice of him, Glengastel Torfa. And he went, no, that's just the box. And inside, he bought me this, which is JP Wise's Legacy.
Yes.
Which for him is a $30 bottle of whiskey, but it's discontinued, and I absolutely 100% cannot get this over here.
Yeah.
And I've already opened it, of course. That's just what I do. And it's really, really tasty, but I haven't done my video of that yet, so you have to wait for my opinion of that one.
That's fair enough.
But yeah, it's just like somebody had to bring that over for me from Canada to get it.
It's awesome. Yeah, the whiskey community is definitely strong. Whiskey Fabric.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Absolutely. It is good.
All right, so
we're going for B.
Lot 40, cask strength, 55%. Moving on to the B bottle, which I've already said is 1% lower, so we can already say that this is 54%.
Yeah, so I had that down as between 50 and 55, so I'm happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So I said this might be a rye or a high rye, but I'm less sure now. For me, I think the difference I got on this one, I've got the standard kind of vanillas and oaks and things like that we always talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought this one was a little bit more biscuity, if that's a good word to use.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit more cereal, a little sweeter, kind of like a digestive. I like that.
Yeah, that was my exact note, digestive.
Mm.
But there's also, there's some other things that when you hear that and you see what it is, it all makes sense. I'm not sure if you've had it before, but when you hear those kind of things, but yeah.
Mm. I think that's what made me start questioning that. Like, and I should have crossed it out on this one, because I think this might be a proper bourbon. Because on the palate, I said I got quite a lot of tannins, leather, and tobacco. Not sure. It was a bit of an odd one, but spoiler alert, it's my favourite of the three, I think.
Oh, cool! It's a very very popular whiskey. It's a finished whiskey. I don't know if that helps or if that triggers anything from any of the notes.
Okay.
There's a finishing on it, but it's not necessarily what you would think as a finish. Okay,
well, I mean, I know that's kind of a new thing, but so I did try something recently. Someone lent me a bottle of something they brought over from the US because you can't get it over here. So I can't compare it. But in that case, it could be the Angel's Envy port finish. Was it the port finish?
It's not port finish. No, it's not. Okay. It's not Angel's Envy. No. Interesting. Genuinely don't know. Okay. So I'll give you my notes, and then I'll show you the bottle here. So on the nose, I'm getting a lot of oak, kind of like almost like dried wood, and I'm getting some caramel, some coconut, some gingerbread, a little bit of coffee beans, some cinnamon, and some toast.
Okay.
And yeah, a lot of those kind of carry over onto the palate. I think the sweeter stuff, the coconut and caramel, kind of disappears a little bit and becomes a little bit more dry. There's some peppercorns and stuff like that. So let's see what it is. So this is also a rye.
Okay. I didn't cross that one out this time, so I get that for a win. Ooh.
So this is the Michter's Toasted Barrel Finish Cask Strength Rye Whiskey. So the barrel has actually not been used before. It's a new barrel, but instead of charring it, it's just toasted.
So I have tried this at a festival last year. I haven't covered it on the channel yet, but I remember it being the first time that I'd ever tried a rye and gone, I like this. Like, this is something that I can drink. The downside is that even when you can get it, it's like over £100, right?
Yeah, it's not cheap. I mean, the barrel proof ones are not cheap. I think the regular US ones, the American, the regular bourbon, regular rye, and stuff like that is around 50 to maybe £60. But yeah, as soon as the toasted barrel finishes is easily 100, and also any other barrel proof ones from Michter's are around 100, I think. But yeah, this one here is a tricky one for me because I actually prefer the barrel proof rye, the non-toasted, because for me that's like the perfect rye, straight down the middle of everything I love about rye whiskey is that. But I drink them way too fast, so I can't have them in the house.
yeah, I get that. What you want to do is a little tactic I have two sections. I have my cupboard that's closed with no window, and all my good stuff goes in there. And out in the open, I have all of my reasonably priced to cheap stuff, and I put those bottles in front of the expensive ones, so that when I'm just I fancy just a dram, I'm not really sure what, and I'm just going to decide, I open up the cupboard, see the cheaper ones, and just reach for one of those. It's only when I'm like, I really want one of those kind of experiences that you only get from the more expensive stuff that I dig deep and go rummaging. So you need the defense bottles in front of the expensive ones.
Yeah, very true, very true.
It depends how good your willpower is, of course, as well.
Yeah, I think right now my system is probably lack of system. Like I've been grabbing bottles and putting them back in. It's like not really thinking about it. The only thing that's kind of in order is all of my whistle pigs. They're kind of stacked in order because they fit nice and neat. Because they're slim bottles and they go in, so they kind of sit almost like a bunch of books in a library. So yeah, my Four Roses and whistle pigs are all kind of on one.
Yeah, well, I've been watching your lives for quite a while, and I think that like you've especially some of the guys you've had Bourbon Paddy on a fair bit, and he like you guys in the British Bourbon Society have got some really excellent taste, but you've got some supreme bottles there, and I just sort of don't really have stuff like that. I think I mean I've got some maybe two really expensive bottles, and the rest are between sort of 20 and 60 pounds. I don't tend to spend much more than that because doing what I do twice a week, it starts to get really expensive.
Yeah, that's when the samples come in handy, though. Yeah.
I mean, you'd be surprised about. Well, you probably won't be surprised, but how negative samples are perceived in the world as well. I'm not bothered about reviewing samples, but some people say that you have to have drank half a bottle before you can possibly review it. I was like, well, it's not even remotely true, because the professionals, let's say, like let's use Jim Murray as an example. Do you think that guy drinks 4,000 bottles a year? Definitely not.
Nope.
And there's no way. He'd be dead.
Yeah. And also, if you think about, like, if you go to San Francisco Spirit Awards and all these other awards, like each person. So I met Rob Allinson at Whiskey Live, and he's one of those guys. He's the editor of Whiskey Magazine, and he's like one of the judges. So he will get like 60 samples in front of him, and like him smelling and tasting and spitting that out. That's going to be like whether or not that's going to be the best whiskey in the world based off of that. And there's no like, oh, let me sit on that for a bit. It's like, no, you have to like cover that in like 3 or 4 hours. It's like, so yeah, I mean, like samples for me is the perfect way to try like a whole bunch of stuff and like figure out like what your palate is like as well. Because like there's no way you can have like 4,000 bottles. It's just impossible unless you're like ridiculously rich and don't have to work and just do that. Yeah,
definitely. And I think it's I mean, there's a couple of groups on Facebook as well. I used to be a huge fan of like Highland Park Scotch, and I've stopped that now because they've priced me out of their range. Unfortunately, it's just too expensive now. But if there's a Facebook group, I can't remember what it's called now, but it's like Highland Park Appreciation Society or something like that. And what people do is they just post endless photos of like hundreds of bottles sealed in their collection. Look at all these bottles of Highland Park I've got, and it horrifies me every time I see it, because I think I've probably got about 40 bottles, and I consider that quite excessive.
Yeah.
But I would say maybe 3 of them are closed, and maybe 2 of those that are closed are just because I've got another one of those bottles that's open. I make a habit of whenever I get a new bottle, the minute I get home, even if I don't want to try it, I'll just rip the seal off and pop it and smell it and put it back. Then it's done. Then it's open.
Yeah. Nice one.
Yeah, it's all about the drinking.
It's for drinking.
Yeah. Yeah. This is. Do you know who Ian Buxton is? The whiskey writer.
I'm not familiar with. No.
He did 101 Whiskies to Try Before You Die. Good book. Yeah. But he did an interview once, and he was saying like, I'll paraphrase a little bit, but he was like, until you open the bottle of whiskey and try it, how do you know it's not just tea in there?
Yeah.
I quite like that. It's like, how do you know? It could be.
That's a very good point. I'm going to use that. Yeah.
I pinched it.
I open everything. Absolutely everything.
Yeah. For sure.
Nice. All right, cool. So that's A and that's B. So we got Lot 40, 12-year-old cask strength. We got Michter's barrel strength toasted barrel rye. And then finally, we got Spirit or Whiskey C.
Spirit or Whiskey C.
A bit of a punch. But let's hear what the...
I actually wrote in my book here, I wrote on the palette, bam. Because it's this huge, I mean, this is at least 60%, maybe 61, 62%. Now that it's been sat out on the side, even higher than that. Yeah, now that it's been sat on the side, I kind of got this weird, juicy, citrusy note from the nose. Once you get past that initial, like, nostril, hair burning smell. But yeah, it's got just a huge nose on it. I feel like the ABV might be disguising more flavours though. So I didn't add water to this, but maybe I will in a bit.
Yeah, oh god, that's a dash.
I mean, I love high ABV whiskey. Absolutely love it. It's one of my favourite things, but it's just so expensive. I'm just trying to think if I've got
definitely can be a
bottle down here. Oh, I do. Let me just reach back around here. One of my favourite whiskies at the moment is an English whiskey, and that's this Cotswolds Founder's Choice. And it's only 3 years old, but it's presented at 60.9%, and it's an absolute monster, but it's so good.
Yeah, I tried it. I tried it once. I think it was Whiskey Live, or maybe someone gave me a sample of it. I can't remember. But yeah, it was punchy. Yeah, I love a good cask strength. That's where my heart is at the moment. But yeah, it's a time and a place, because there's also like I can't drink a cask strength like too many times during the work week. But so yeah, have to. It's
not a Wednesday dram, is it?
It's not Whiskey Wednesday maybe, but yeah.
Whiskey Wednesday. Got a handy pipette, so I'm gonna have a little go on that. I'm not a huge. I don't know if any of your guys watch my channel or not. Hopefully, a few of my guys came along as well. But I'm not a huge fan of adding water to whiskey. I must admit. But when it's over 60%, sometimes it calls for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
so. I did it right on my. Sorry, carry on, mate.
I was going to say I always use this. So I normally do 5 drops. Unless I think it's below 46%, then I don't add any water at all. But like what those 5 drops will do is like they will allow those kind of flavor compounds remove themselves from the alcohol compounds, and it will give you a little bit more of that, especially on the aroma. only for like a whiff. If you do it and you kind of like cover it up, shake it up, and you'll get like, whoa, like a bouquet almost. So it will do that, and it doesn't necessarily hurt, especially like if it's 55 or 60 plus, then like it's not going to matter too much as long as you don't kind of like do like a half and half, and then you're like, well, what's the point of drinking it? Like if you're trying to find some flaws in there, yeah, maybe, but like that's not why I drink whiskey. I don't drink it to find faults.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of something that I follow on my own content. It's I nearly always have something positive to say about a whiskey, because it's something really hit home to me early on when I covered the Johnny Walker Red Label, which I consider a bad whiskey. But it's a great many people's favourite whiskey. Sometimes it's the only whiskey they've ever drank. Sometimes it's all they can afford.
Yeah.
And it really hit home to me that just because you don't like it doesn't mean you should call it a terrible or disgusting whiskey, because it could well be somebody's favourite. Saying it's disgusting isn't really subjective. Or the other way around. I can never remember which way around it is. But I think I've done something like 220 videos now, and I've only covered 4 whiskies that I would consider bad. And only one of them was truly disgusting that I couldn't drink. And that was the Fujikai 10-year-old. Infamous in the YouTube world. And if I had some, I would give you some, because it was diabolical. It was like, I got notes of wet dog and rubber plimsoll, if you know what I mean, like a little rubber shoe.
Oh yeah.
It's just not things that you want to taste.
Oh gosh. There was a guy, I think it was a whiskey bond, asking whether or not we use regular water or bottled water. So I do boil water and then filter it through a Brita filter. So I do that.
That's so funny, because that is exactly what I do. Exactly what I do. Yeah. I've got a nice new Brita filter and boil the water, put it through. So it should be clean. You know, it's just it's what I like to. I don't like the tap water where I live, so I filter anyway.
Yeah, we can't all live in I'm sure there's guys up in Scotland that would go outside and grab of the fresh stream, or in Kentucky for that matter. But yeah, here we have to, especially in London, like the water basically comes out. You have to kind of use the scissors to cut cut the impurities out. But yeah, so boiling and filtering will do the trick, unless you can get any kind of nice water from like a stream or whatever.
I've actually got here, I'm planning a video coming up about adding water to whiskey, and I've been meaning to do it for ages, but I haven't had the time. I've got these little bottles here. It's called Uska Sauce. Obviously that's a Scotch Gaelic for whiskey. And what it's meant to do is a bit of a funny one, so we'll see how good this goes. But this is meant to complement Highland whiskey. I don't know if you can see that. Right. It's Highland there. So this one here is specifically from a Highland spring. And I've also got one from Islay as well. And I've got another one from Speyside.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to do like a whole kind of scientific method testing of this, because this is meant to enhance your Highland whiskey and enhance your Islay whiskey, but it sounds an awful lot like nonsense to me. So that's, my mantra to diffuse that. But I'm going to give it a go. Why not? How different can they be? But not all waters are created equal, apparently.
Yeah, or I don't know. It depends on the marketing department behind that.
Exactly. So,
I'm looking forward to the no-nonsense review of that.
It's going to be a funny one, because the person who gave me those bottles, they actually works for the company, and they just handed me the bottle saying, here, just do something with them. They didn't say, please say nice things about our bottles.
Yeah.
But like, I'm trying to go in as open as possible, but I imagine what I will say is something along the lines of that this tastes different for sure, but enhance, I don't know. This little set of 3 of these, this is like a, whatever size this is, I'm trying to look, 100 mils. So for 300 mils of water, it's like £10, which is ludicrous. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully I'll put that video out in the next couple of weeks, but
nice.
I don't know. It's going to be a long one.
Yeah. looking forward to that. I'll keep an eye out. So everyone keep an eye out. No Nonsense Whiskey, the water review.
The water review, yeah. The scientific method of water.
Watergate coming up.
Yeah. Well, it'll be a good one because I don't really bother with it. So it'll be a nice little thing for me to start adding water to some stuff, but it's not really my thing. Yeah, I found one whiskey I've ever tried that it really did change the whole concept of the whiskey for me. And that was the Glengoyne Cask Strength Batch 5. And it was a totally different whiskey when I added water to it, totally different. So, I don't know. We'll see. Open mind.
Exactly. All right, cool. So let's. I've added some water to this. I know you also added a few drops there. So we're at the third bottle, and I know there's quite a few people coming in. So I'll just show the bottles real quick. So the first bottle that Wynn was trying was the Lockwood Cask Strength. This is the 12-year-old, the first release, and then the second bottle was the Michter's Barrel Strength Rye. This is the toasted finish, and then we're now on the third and the last sample. So let's hear what you have to say, Vin.
I'm excited.
Nice.
Sort of. This is high. I know this is high. Well, obviously you've said it's at least 65, something like that now.
Yeah.
Go on.
It's 64.4. So yeah, it's up there. It's
up there.
It can use adapted water, and it doesn't actually hurt. It just kind of cuts the tip off of that sharp ethanol nose. So it's good.
Whiskey Wim's asking if my favourite was B, and I'm sticking with that. Yeah, this whatever this one is, it's lovely. But I have to say I think the ABV is probably a little too high, which is something I don't often say. Usually I'm a big fan of it, but there doesn't seem to be much else for me going on behind that, even with the water. So I think it's kind of, I don't know, maybe it's masking something. We'll see. I don't know. You'll tell me in a minute what it is, but I'll probably be poo-pooing a lot of people by saying that. But I hope it's not a British Bourbon Society pick, otherwise I will be in hot water.
No, it's not a pick. It's not
okay. I'm actually using the British Bourbon Society glass for this one, so that's...
Nice one. And you got the original. Is that the original Glencairn as well?
I'm not sure. It came with when they started doing their bourbon glasses as well. I ordered 2 of these. Then I should have ordered a bourbon glass, but didn't. But yeah, I don't know if it was one of the first ones or not. I kind of like I mean, you've probably seen. I don't really post much on anything. Whiskey Trial. I tend to be a bit of a lurker.
Yeah.
On Facebook, I'm trying to build up to doing more content on other socials, but it's difficult to create for everything so much.
Yeah, you have to double down and like make sure you can commit.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, I mean, YouTube takes up a lot of my time.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe one day when I can quit my job, I might be able to do a bit more social and everything, but that's going to be a while, I think.
Just keep at it, man. Keep at it.
Yeah.
So what do you get on the nose and on the palate for
okay.
C? So
nose, obviously high amount of alcohol, but yeah, it's kind of like a sugary, juicy, and a little bit citrusy. I said, which is, I don't know if I'm just making that up. It's slightly lemony ting to it.
I can see that.
But that just might be the ethanol wafting up my nose.
Yeah.
And on the palate, I wrote in order. I wrote BAM, thick, so viscous, and then I wrote like notes of cherry and marzipan, which is probably another reason why I don't like it, because I hate marzipan.
Oh right, okay.
So yeah, maybe that's that. But yeah, it's got just an absolutely monstrous mouth on it. The water is actually improving that, I have to say. Definitely improving it. And I am enjoying it. I think that's the fairest thing to say. Although it's not my favourite, by no stretch are these bad whiskies. None of them. They're all good.
All right, so I'll give you my notes as well. So, so on the nose, the first couple of things, once that kind of ethanol kind of goes away, I've kind of swirled it out a couple of times just to kind of get that whiff out. So I get cinnamon, I get oak and char, I get cloves, I get gingerbread again, and I get peppercorns. A little bit of citrus fruit, probably like an orange peel or something like that. And then on the palate, I'm again getting rye bread, ginger, ethanol, a little bit of a burn, and then peppercorn, and also the sherry. So yeah, like I think there's some similarities in our notes there, and this is actually. So this is something that's not that easy to get either. This is a 6-year-old rye whiskey. There's a pattern here.
There's a pattern, yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason I sent you 3 ryes. I know you're on a rye journey, so I put you against 3 ryes here. Very different. So yeah, 64.4%, and this is the.
Oh, okay.
Thomas Henry.
The BTAC.
Yes, so BTAC. This is the 2015 bottle, which won this the 2015 rye or kind of on non-age stated rye whiskey of the year that year. So yeah.
I'm just showing off my Jason Whiskey Wise glass because I know he's just dropped in.
Nice.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that I've tried that because it's one of the few that I haven't bothered. I mean, BTAC's an interesting one. I first managed to try a Weller, maybe the 2016 one. I can't remember which one it was I tried, and fell in love with it immediately. But and then I tried to get one that year, and it was just a crapshoot. It was just insane, and I've left it alone ever since then because. Not only should I definitely not be spending £150 on a bottle, I certainly don't want to be fighting other people for it. So I like to cover things that people can get.
Yeah.
Every now and again, I'll drop an expensive one. Like Douglas Lang sent me a 58-year-old grain that was £1,700 a bottle, and I was like, well, obviously I'm trying that sample. But very often I'll say no, I'm not. I can't. Obviously, I can't recommend people spend money on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've stayed away from it a little bit. It is nice though. It is good.
Yeah, it's
like I said, it's just a bit too hot for me.
Yeah, I think as we're kind of sipping our way through like today's stream, I think definitely, I think my favorite is probably the first one, the Lot 40, the 100% rye. I'm definitely like that super gingery and like very rye spice that we're like almost like grain forward rye is kind of my preference. I think the toasted is amazing and the handy is amazing too. It's one of my favorites out of the BTACs. But yeah, the Lot 40 is just amazing to me. It's just such an easy drinker. It doesn't give away what it is. It's a little bit. It's like a cat. It's like whereas the other ones are a little bit more like dogs. Like they want to come play, and the Lot 40 is just like, nah, not really telling you anything here.
I like that one a lot. I covered the standard one last year sometime, and really enjoyed it. But it's just availability, I mean, you've given me 3 here that are pretty great and pretty hard to get hold of for sure. I think probably the most available one for us is probably the B, but even then it's one of those ones that disappears and comes and goes, right? It's like some days you'll sit on the shelf, some days you won't. Yeah. I've never bought any of them, mainly due to budget, but one day, who knows? He knows. Yeah.
It's definitely, I mean, like for me, this is a very, expensive hobby for sure, and it is a hobby for sure. It's definitely not alcoholism.
Yeah. Well, I always joke that we're kind of riding the knife edge, but as long as you're not hiding it or drinking it before or at work, or like pretending that a bottle of vodka is water, then you know you're on the right side of that that knife edge. But I don't think like a dram, you know, a few times a week. I would say I probably have maybe 1 or 2 dry days a week, and the days that I'm not dry is maybe 1 or 2 simple measures, and it's never any more than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, very rarely am I drinking 2/3 of a bottle in a night, and I mean I say very rarely, like literally like once a year, maybe a festival. I'll drink a bit too much probably, but you know, you got to pace yourself and maybe drink other things as well.
Yeah, man, as it goes. There was a
like water.
Jason, oh yeah, water always. There's a question from Jason here. What are the 3 bottles? So bottle A was the Lot 40 cask strength, and this is the 12-year-old first release. The second bottle was the Michter's barrel proof rye whiskey. This is the toasted barrel finish at 54%. And then the third one was the 2015 Thomas Handy at 64.4%. Pretty punchy. Man. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's what the ABV was hiding. Remember I said it was hiding something? Oh, which one's that one? The Lot 40? Lot 40, yeah. It's seen better days. It's in
the danger zone now, isn't it? I mean, I don't know about you, but I have this kind of... So here I've got the Glengoyne Legacy. I'm actually going to use that for my water video. But I tend to have a general rule that when the whiskey gets below the label, that needs to have a kill session. I usually get like a friend, when my friend who's really into whiskey comes round, or I go to theirs, I tend to take the bottle with me and try and finish it. And if not, that'll get drank until it's done, no matter how expensive the bottle was.
Yeah.
So otherwise, it's just dead weight, isn't it? It's just a bottle sitting there doing nothing.
Man, I love actually, like, something I started doing, like, once, when you get invited to, like, a friend's house or whatever, like, instead of bringing a 6-pack of whatever beer you just grab, like, bring, like, a bottle that has this much left and share it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, don't wait until it's down there and like ruining itself because it's sitting there. Like, just grab it and share it with friends. I love that. It's such a good conversation starter as well. Like, no one wants to have a conversation about like a 6-pack of Red Stripe. I mean, that'll be a short conversation, but yeah, a bottle of whiskey is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's I think more and more people are getting into it, and a few of my friends have started picking it up now as well. Which was funny because the reason why I started doing what I do on YouTube is that none of my friends really liked whiskey, and even the ones that I tried to engage in it didn't really want to talk about it. And I started nerding out about it about 4 or 5 years ago. So I needed that kind of outlet, which I've got now, and now I've got a few people that I can send stuff to, and we can have a drink together, which is great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I love it, man. Again, Whiskey Fabric. And a lot of that is online. Like, when I moved to London, it was also the online kind of community that it was weird because it was the online community that made me feel at home in London when I moved here. It wasn't like the people around me. That took way longer. So yeah, it's a good place to hang out and meet people.
For sure, man, for sure.
All right, so let's see what people are saying. So yeah, I guess we're towards the tail end of this week's stream. Sorry, it was a little bit delayed, guys. Instagram decided to fuck us over a little bit, but we did it.
Yeah, I'm glad, because like you said at the beginning, we were both literally about sort of this far away from just being like, let's just do it another night. And then I just happened to be scrolling through and saw you were live. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, Jason, I'm in London. Yeah, always hanging out. Let me know where your watering holes are, and yeah, we might be able to hang out for a bit. Cool. So we have
giveaway time.
We have a couple of things that we need to get rid of. One of these bags here. So there's a weekly giveaway, as always, on this channel, and then there's an announcement. I think we'll give away this bag, and then I'll talk about the announcement before we shut this down. I'm going to need a little bit of help from you there, Vin. So let's see.
I was just going to say as well, I haven't run this by you, but I'm just going to ad-lib it. But I'm going to throw in coin 152 to whoever wins the tote bag as well.
Yes.
So I'll send one of those out to them.
Double giveaway. Someone's going to get proper lucky here. So, all right, cool. So we have numbers between 2 and 14, so both numbers included. So no number 1, but you can pick number 2 and number 14 and anything in between. And that will be this week.
I'm going to have to pick number 14 because it's the date of my birth, August 14th. So I'm going to go with 14.
Your friend is going to be happy.
Oh.
I don't know.
I can't see.
I don't know if you can see that. So the last drop reviews.
Oh, he is going to be happy. He's already got one of my coins as well.
Do you want to actually no? Let's not give away. So this list is kind of pure. So yeah, maybe what we can do. We'll do another live at some point, and we can give away some coins. How about that?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, what I might do is send him something else just in case. But I think I've got some other stuff lying around.
I'm sure he'll be happy.
Everyone likes stuff.
Whiskey wins is saying, I'll have the coin. All right, last drop bag coming at you. So announcement time.
Announcement time.
And Vin, you know what this is. So I've asked a few people. So I've been working on this for a little bit. So I asked a few people to kind of review and give me some feedback, and thanks to those, and it's probably like 5 or 6 people out there, maybe 7, that's given me some feedback so far, and yeah, continue to have feedback on this thing that's going to come out, and it will actually be live in about 5 minutes. So as soon as I hit the end button here, it'll be live. T-shirts? Is it T-shirts? No, it's not T-shirts. It's hopefully something better. So I have been, actually, let me see if I can get this out here. Have been recording a podcast. Boom, into this brand new microphone right here. So I've been recording a podcast, and this podcast this was actually not planned, but it fits right into this live stream. So it's a podcast about blind tasting. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it kind of fitted in and perfect with today's live stream. So yeah, podcast about blind tasting. Hopefully educational and maybe entertaining. Who knows? I don't know. What do you think? Vin, you listened to like a few minutes. I know you haven't listened to too much. Did you have a chance?
Yeah, I did. I had about 10 minutes before we started this. I mean, I think the first episode was like about 25 minutes long, wasn't it? Which is good. I like that. And I scrubbed through a bit, and no spoilers, of course, but I thought it was really good, actually, really good. It's obviously extremely challenging to do blind tastings, and you've got to take your wins when you get them. But it's I really like the way you've done it, because you've got your other half to pour them and write you a note, haven't you? So it's a good way of doing it, and I really like blind tastings. They're one of my favourite things to do. I just don't really do them on my channel because to organise that is a bit tough. There's a few YouTubers that have tried it, and it works for them. But yeah, I think it's going to go down well. I think people are going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm excited. So yeah, quick note on the format. So yeah, I have every episode it will be two spirits, and this won't actually just be whiskey. This will be any kind of spirit, which I think makes it a little bit more fun because it allows me to kind of pick out the category rather than trying to like figure out what it is in detail, and in that process, I can use some of the things that I've kind of picked up over the past many years, but also like recently taken a couple of courses at the Wine and Spirit Education Trust, where they kind of teach you a lot more about the process behind. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of share that journey with everyone. So the podcast, yeah, just became the outlet for that. Again, like as you say, like you need something to do with that, all of that information you sit with, and like I'm the same. Like I need to get it out somehow. So yeah, podcast became the medium. And yeah, I'll be available on like all the podcasts, wherever you get it. iTunes, I think, is on the way. It might take a day or two, but yeah, you can get on Spotify, on Stitcher, and whatever. You can even listen to it on Alexa, I think. So
that's awesome. Yeah,
it should be good fun. I'll post up right after this, and yeah, I'm gonna throw up a link in the bio on Instagram, and that'll be the first episode. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
Awesome. Yeah, hopefully it goes well for you. I mean, I use Stitcher on my Android, so hopefully I'll get that pinging up. I'll give it another listen all the way through this time.
Solid. All right, cool. Vin, thank you so much for joining. We're going to get kicked out. There's about a minute or 30 seconds or less on this stream.
Ooh.
Instagram will kick us off after an hour. So yeah, thank you so much for hanging out. And thanks everyone for joining as well. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's been a really good time.
Thank you for watching this episode of Spirits People Live. For more videos, check out spiritspeople.com, subscribe on YouTube, and be sure to follow us on Instagram, where we connect you with spirits people worldwide.